it's cooling down, the shadows are getting longer, and well, I'm going to just try and go back an inch so that we got it like there. Sorry, because then it's clearer. Sometimes I can't gauge the different angle between myself and the camera until it gets really zoomed. Like now, there's a bit of grass in her eye. That doesn't help. Okay, let's keep it there. There we go. Welcome to Africa, everybody. And the pride of lion that are at ease with our presence. They've been sleeping all day, but no doubt going to wake up pretty soon. Sounds good to me. Andrew's telling me that there are few people that are asking about my views on this concept of these males that have just killed a female last night. Pardon?
Where's your hat went straight into service?
Oh, my hat. As she's rolling around and waking up and... Hello, pussycat. Ooh, I love you so much. I can never touch you. Might be a little bit detrimental to my house. What I think of this, just to fill you in, I've just been asked a question about a recent event, because I'm sure there are a few people out there that are watching our drive this evening. You might be new to what we're doing, and you might might not know what this is all about. We do 2 of these 3-hour drives a day, and for a lot of viewers who follow us almost on every drive and have the wonderful patience to stay with us, we get to see the lives of certain individual animals over time. So rather than visiting a reserve and you only get to see an animal once and then you go away and you never see it again, here we're actually able to follow these animals' lives over a few months and bring you almost a bigger picture of what it is that goes on in the life of lion or elephant or kudu or even impala in some cases, and maybe even plants and insects and spiders, and I'll go on and on and on. But this is a pride of lion that has been around in this area for a long time. They're known as the Nkuhumas, and up until now there's been 9 in number, which consisted of 3 adult females, 3 sub-adults, which was 1 male and 2 females, and then 3 cubs. And it's the young male that's lying over there. Now, it's quite possible that one of them was taken by one of a coalition, or by a coalition of male lions that come in from the north, a coalition of male lions known as the... Who was it? It was the Birmingham... No, the Birminghams. I think they said it was. Gee, I'm confusing myself now. Birmingham males. An upstart group of young males, sub-adult males, or they're a little bit older than this boy, but they're getting close to that age where they can hold their own, and evidently they killed a lioness last night. It was seen this morning with 2 males, and then another 3 joined them, and it was confirmed that it was that coalition of 5. So we're now with the Pride. They were found this morning. We were lucky enough to be able to follow them to a spot where, for what we can only get to, unfortunately I can't get any of the safari guide vehicles here because it's really difficult for a long wheelbase. We got a short wheelbase vehicle so we can go places. It's been a relatively hot day and these cats have been sleeping, and I'm hoping they're going to wake up. I'm hoping too they're not only hungry but they're also thirsty, and they're going to probably well, there's the potential for them to head in any possible direction, 360 degrees from here. However, behind us, directly behind us, and not too far away, in fact not too far away down this very same drainage or gully drainage line, lies the Nkuhuma waterhole or Gowrie Dam, and I'm hoping that they're going to go and maybe drink there later. It might be a little bit later than I want it to be, because we got to end our broadcast when it starts getting dark. Getting close to sunset now. But I'm counting on it being a little bit cooler than normal, that it hasn't been that hot, that actually very, very soon they're going to start getting a little bit active, because they're not full, they're not bloated, they're not these kind of cats that are going to wait until 8 o'clock at night to get up. They're the kind of cats that are going to wait until the shadows have got as long as they have now, and it's starting to cool down already, and there's probably going to be a little bit of movement. That's why we've waited until now to get here. And as long as they're around on Nkuhuma, you can be sure that if I wake up tomorrow morning, I'm going to be finding them again and trying to follow up on what's going on in the lion dynamics of this little part of one of the biggest national parks in Africa. Even if it doesn't look very exciting right now, sometimes you just have to sit and wait for things to happen and make sure that you're there when they do. Ephraim, come in. What's that? Bet you didn't know there was like a dark line of hair along the spine, dorsal crest of some lion. Ephraim, what Ingwe was that? Okay, copy, thanks. Leopard that was found on Torchwood. For those of you who are following the leopards of the Sabi Sands, Kanyani's son was found on Torchwood. I think they found her and cubs this morning, but now only one of them. What are you doing, child? Marisha, on question coming in on #Safari Live on Twitter. I'm going back to see if this male might be our best option to view at the moment, so we can talk about lion and things. Marisha, a really nice question, and I think it reminds me that I was getting to this sort of whole discussion. Marisha, why would those males kill that female? Why not mate with her? my comments on this whole thing. I was getting to the whole yawn, wakey, wakey. Hello, Mr. Lion. This is the young male of the pride. He's still a sub-adult, so he's not the dominant male. He's still subordinate to females, the adult females. And those 5 males that have killed that female, that might even be, one of them might be his sister. My guess is, because I think I would really like to see the composition of this pride, because we should have 3 adult females. I can't imagine that, well, actually I could, I suppose, imagine that they might have killed an adult female who might have been protecting the pride, might have been confronting them to sacrifice the pride, or rather to save the pride. It's very difficult to try and think of what circumstances arose that those males killed that female, other than those males, they're young males, they're nomadic, they are a new coalition and they're seeking out territory, and they managed to catch the female of a coalition of males that already exists. And it was probably mostly because of that they killed her. And I suppose in defiance, and for whatever reason, there's only the lion know why they actually feed on a carcass of their own kind. You can't even begin to try and psychoanalyze that whole thing. But because we've seen it here live on safari, on WildEarth, we've seen lion killing and eating females. We saw it with the Majingi lions when they came in with one of the Styx females. So I can't even begin to try and understand why. I don't think anybody even should. It's just, this is what happens. This is how it has happened for millions of years. Lion, being the apex predator that they are, being such a powerful predator in the food chain, they're not only powerful in their own right, but they're even more powerful in that they live in prides, and that they hunt collectively, and that they defend territory collectively, makes them quite a formidable force. So there is very, very little that can affect the population of lion, and in theory, since they are an apex predator and there is nothing that is preying on them, what is it that really controls the population of lion? And actually the answer is in itself. It's lion that control the population of lion, and what is happening here is merely one of those examples, or one of those incidents where there is a clash and a lion died. And while it is sad because we get to know these individuals, and it'll be over the next few days when we get to see this pride out of this context, out of them being stuck in some really thick bush where we can get very, very little view of them to try and see the whole pride. When we eventually do see them in a day or two, or maybe even tonight, if they start moving now and go down to the dam, and we're able to follow them in the next, I'd say, 15-20 minutes. Yo, wake up, cat. But in time to come, we will try and discover who it was that was lost from this pride. But it's one of those things that we just accept, being the voyeurs that we are. We are not here to interfere in their lives. We are not here to protect them, from each other. We're here to protect them from humans. We're here to protect them and their environment, but we're not here to protect them as individuals. We're not here to doctor them. We're not here to pet them. We are not here to, if they have a cut or a boo-boo or a twisted ankle, in fact, even if they had a broken leg, sometimes you have to leave it alone, and just because it is that is what nature is. We just here to observe. And this is something that happens in nature. It's been happening for millions of years. They are their own population control measure. Hello, Norm. Haven't heard from you in a while, but Norm was asking if maybe the Pride has any remorse in losing one of the clan. I would say so. I would say if we have to look at the footage from this morning when some of what we were looking at was some concern. Some of them were showing some concern in the direction where they'd come from. Maybe it's only my post-event interpretation of it. Maybe I'm wrong. But yes, you can't expect it not to be so, or you can't even believe for a minute that it cannot be so. You can't think that beings as they are, that are so social and so interactive with each other and have such strong bonds, that engage in allo grooming, they engage in allo suckling, that they have this incredible familial relationship. You can't for 1 minute believe that if one of them was missing, that they wouldn't miss them, that they wouldn't feel that loss. We don't have the monopoly on feelings in this world. All of us, lion, impala, kudu, duiker, chameleons, lizard, we've all got red blood, we've all got hearts and livers and lungs and spinal columns and veins, and we've all got the same parts. They're just in different proportions. Just because we have this vocabulary and we have this preconceived idea that we are these higher beings doesn't give us the monopoly on feelings and emotions. And it's only through being a part of nature and watching animals and being in their lives like we are here as Wild Earth that we get to see these emotions, we get to see these individual characters, and we can almost definitely they will feel loss. That's undoubtable. There will be an energy void. In fact, I think animals and things in nature feel far more of the universal energy in the planet than we do, because we are so separated from it as humans. They're far more in tune with those energies. Hello, young man. Sue, hello Sue in Wisconsin. Why didn't the Birmingham boys take out the male, this little boy? Okay, Sue, first off, we don't know that that cat that they have killed is one of this crowd. We don't know that for sure. We don't know the circumstances of how they managed to get it. It could be that they rushed the pride ran, and that female was the one that they managed to catch, and because they caught one, that was all they needed. Could have been because there were only 2 lions seen at first, that it was only the 2 of them, and that their brothers came along at a later date. There's no way of knowing what transpired. So to try and answer a question, why they didn't go for him? Maybe because they just didn't get him. Maybe because in the ensuing chaos that might have transpired, if we can think of what might have transpired, that the two groups met somehow, and that somehow, maybe it was at night, maybe it was in the evening, maybe it was early morning. It's very hard to try and imagine the scenario, what had transpired to result in them killing the cat. But we don't know if it was one of them. We're assuming, because this pride is close by, and we actually only saw 8 of them. But we're in this kind of terrain. At the moment we can see at the most 2 or 3 of these cats. There might be all 9 here, for all we know. I'm hoping that just by sitting here and that by being patient and we can talk to each other and you can ask questions and I can tell you about things, that in the interim we can wait for them to start getting a little bit active like he did. If they go anywhere, I don't know, if they go anywhere north, we're probably not going to be able to follow them much. We might be lucky to catch up with them again. But at the moment, we're sort of at a dead end. We can't go anywhere further west or north. Beautiful sunset, actually. Let's just, since we're waiting for the cats to wake up, let's just quickly, while we're here, is there a way that we can just quickly share this most beautiful evening with you? And if I can just maneuver the vehicle in a way that we can just see a little bit of that golden glow of fire, maybe forward. No. Sorry, Brian. Yeah, okay, well that's about the best we can do. As you can see, we've got a beautiful blue sky sunset tonight. It's the most beautiful evening. It's calm, it's warm. This cold front that must have been here has gone because there isn't a cloud in the sky, and it is actually still probably in the well above 30 degrees or around 30 degrees. Oh, it's still warm. It's hot, maybe 28, 30 degrees Celsius. And one of the most amazing opportunities to sit at a sunset with a pride of lion that are just about waking up from their hot summer's day slumber. And I'm no doubt that they're going to go looking for something to catch tonight, be it a buffalo or a zebra or a wildebeest or something. They're fairly close to Nkuhuma, to the waterhole. There are waterbuck around and nyala and things, but they're also close to the open area of quarantine where there are zebra and wildebeest sometimes. And well, the whole pride is starting to groom themselves, wake up and do the whole cat thing, lick the paw, wipe the face, get the sleep out of the eyes, yawn, get the oxygen into the muscles, get ready to move, get some meat. Unfortunately, we're in an awkward position here. Rhode Island. Sorry, Andrew. Gail, Rhode Island. I think Wasabi Sand's probably a good few times bigger than Rhode Island, the whole state. Gail wants to know how old I think this male is, and when will he leave the pride, when will he go out on his own. That's imminent, Gail. I think he's about 3.5, I'm guessing. I'm sure Sharon and I'm sure that Sil and people who've been following these prides longer than I have know better. See if we can just get a little bit more of a view of that grooming. Oh, the girls are waking up, and these are two of the adult females. They're probably sisters. I'm sorry that we've got obstructions, but I'm hoping you can get an idea of the intense bonds that these cats have. The first thing they want to do when they wake up is just sort of headbutt each other and get a good message in to say, I still love you. I might swat you, I might tear your ears open, I might claw your face when we're fighting for food, but for now, loves you lots. Hello girls, are you going to come out onto the open for us? Come and sit here next to us and... Hello, Kathleen. Kathleen's offered a couple of theories as well as to the whole... I'm sorry, I kind of got way distracted, but I mean, look at this. Sorry. I need to just try and get at least a beautiful view of this. The way these cats, these three are just... They got a tiny gap to look through, so I need to move every now and then. Kathleen, was saying that maybe it was an adult female that was protecting her cubs, or maybe it was a young female that wasn't ready to breed or something. There are, you're right, Kathleen, any number of possibilities depending on, well, I suppose largely depending on the age of the female and who she was. The thing is that I think the question earlier also was, why would they kill her, not breed with her? Because there's not, they can't breed with her because there is already a dominant coalition of males here, and if she were to fall pregnant and to give birth to cubs, the dominant males that are here already would automatically kill those cubs. Well, generally speaking, who knows? They might not. They might think that maybe they're their own, but we're dealing with a circumstance that has so many variables that we can only imagine, and anything that you may suggest could be a viable scenario for what happened, because that is what I guess what it is we don't know which lioness this is. We might even if we ascertain that it's one of the lionesses from here, it would still be very hard to try and understand the reasoning or anything else. We could think of 1,001 possibilities, and any one of them could be right, but also all of them could be wrong. And there could be something that happened that we can't even imagine, that isn't even within our powers of imagination, that could have happened, that could resulted in those males killing that female. One of the reasons why we try and watch these cats as much as we can, trying to get an idea of their temperament and their characters and status quo, and who's dominant and who's not. And even I think if we had been watching them every day and we'd still witnessed that, I think there would have still been 1,001 questions as to why or what it was, or reasoning behind it. And so over time you learn to not even question it. You learn to, I wouldn't say accept it, because it's you do have to accept it. That is what it is. But you don't have to accept the fact that it can't be explained. You just have to understand that it can't be, and so you don't need that acceptance. Does that make any sense? This is how lion dynamics work. This is Africa. And the way it works is that you don't have to analyze everything every time. It is what it is. These three that are being so lovey-dovey, if they caught a wildebeest or a zebra or something right now, I promise you they'd have their claws in each other's faces in a fraction of a second. Because then it's all about grabbing a piece of the cake, as it were. Sometimes I think the aggression gets a bit better of them. Hello, David. David in the UK. Question about lion hunting. How do they talk to each other? How do they communicate? Or is it all instinctive? David, the hunting part is instinctive. The actual chasing and bringing down is all the instinctive part, but the strategy isn't. And the strategy of what each individual does within the context of the hunt is quite crucial, because if we break down the whole hunt when lion are hunting, and invariably, or a lot of the time when they're hunting an animal that is part of a herd, you've got to imagine that different individuals are stationed in different places around the herd, and for them to communicate verbally would be to give away their positions. So there's a very limited amount of verbal communication when it comes to what to do within a hunt and what role to play for each individual. And so it all comes down to eye contact and body language, ear movement, or rather ear positions, eye positions, the tail, flick of the tail, the stance of the body, the position of the body, but I think most of all the position of the head, and it's those black markings on the back of the ears and the triangle of the face of the lion, that when the ears are positioned in a certain way, that other members of the pride, when an individual within a herd is singled out as the individual to hunt, it's that focus that allows the other animals in the pride to focus on the same individual. You see, they can't just go and rush at a herd of animals and hope that they're going to bring one down. They have to collectively single one out. They can't talk to each other about it. They can only signal each other with tail movements and head movements and ear and eye and subtle body language. The markings under the eyes, the markings behind the ears. There is so much that they can signal to each other in the... Did you see his head pop out? The young male just popped his head out of the top of that quarry bush. He's shaking it like a buffalo. Here he comes. All bombastic. He's a youngster, but you can see how much bigger his head is than those ladies, one of whom is his mother. He's listening to me and licking his lips. Hello, little boy. Starting to get cooler. Starting to get active. So during a hunt, it's all visual. And it's very subtle. They're facing Gari Dam. We're facing the other direction, by the way. My guess is that they might get up and start moving that way. Now if you look at those lines of the whisker spots on his face, you can see there's like 3 lines. The bottom line just above his lip, and then a middle line, and then a top line sort of coming from the corner of his nose. Now there are spots just above those 3 lines of whisker spots. And while it might be hard to recognize individuals from those 3 lines of whisker spots, there are those tiny little spots just above the top line of whisker spots that are unique to each animal. And it's those little spots that we try and identify individual lions or lionesses with. Obviously with lion it's different because they're males and they're far easier markers on them, especially the scars and nicks in their ears that they develop. But sometimes with young females and with younger lion, it's quite hard to identify each individual. And when you get to spend enough time with them, as I have in some places elsewhere in Africa, where I get to see the same lion time and time and time again, at first you learn those whisker spot patterns so that you can identify them, and by doing that you start learning their individual characters and their individual personalities, and then you actually see their faces as completely different face to the other lion, that you actually don't need to look for those little subtle markers. You can actually see them because of who they've become in your mind as an individual cat, as opposed to just another member of the pride. It's easy here because he's the only young male, but when it comes to all those females, it takes time to start getting to know their individual characteristics, and we don't see them often enough to actually start learning their individual characters and personalities. I wish we did, not like we do with the leopards. Bless you, child. Lion sneeze too. The Orkney Islands. I don't think I've ever had a question from the Orkney Islands, or not that I know of. Hello, Liz. Welcome to our drives. Nice to hear from you. In the Orkney Islands. See, now I've got to go and find out where the Orkney Islands are. If you'll excuse my failure to identify it geographically. When lioness give birth, do they go off on their own, or is it sort of a group affair type of thing? No, they do go off on their own, Liz. Kind of important that they do that. The rest of the pride obviously needs to move on and continue to hunt and do what they need to do. That's one of the adult females that's moving, and I'm wondering if she looked like she might have been lactating. She's going to scratch her, yeah, she's going to stretch. Okay, time to move a little bit. The pride's starting to get active. Come on, Wendy. Thank you. Got to try and move so we can see them. This is how it suddenly happens when it cools down. And making their way to Gary Dam. One adult female, and that's one of the sub-adult females. Unfortunately, we can't see them pulling down, like stretching and scratching bark on trees. Unfortunately, we couldn't see that. And there's another mama cat. Little boy will be the last one to go, but bless you. My guess is they're going to the water. Angola's starting to move now. Negative, they're heading down towards Gary Dam. One of the 6-7-month-old cubs moving past the young male, and there's another little one toileting. two of the youngsters. So we've had two females, one sub-adult, two sub-adults, and two cubs. Who's next? Get an idea of who's here and who's not. So 3, this is 6. 2, 2, and 2. Still a couple sleeping behind the trees. They haven't even got up yet. Andrew, come in. Andrew, come in. Golly gosh. Yaga? Sorry, which endow? Oh, copy. I thought he said Jumadam. Ah, okay, not Vuyatella. Okay, copy, thanks. Sorry, I just heard Jumadam. Oh, there's some vocalizing. Wild dog. Bush bright, Jumadam, and well, I thought it was on quarantine, but it's not. It's the other Jumadam on Cheetah Plains, in front of the lodge at Cheetah Plains. Sorry, Andrew NFC, if I confused you. Andrew Guide I was talking to on the other channel. Waiting for this other lioness to come by, and then we can turn around and we can try and follow them. But of course, we've got a very classic example here of the cubs that have settled down. The sub-adult and the lioness has moved. They've moved on ahead, which is kind of an important thing, because the cubs staying behind means that the adult, that little vocalization that I got earlier, that little was to tell these cubs to stay put, because the females want to go off and see if they're going to bump into something to hunt. Here comes another one of the adults. So we've got, it looks like she's been lactating. So all adults in this big old girl here now. So if anything, I'd say maybe it's one of the very young cubs that's missing. What is the count now? 7 or 8? 2. There's 8. I don't know. I'm confused. Don't know if there are any more lions left. But anyway, time to turn around. Time to try and keep track of them and follow them, because I think they might be going to the dam. They might be going to drink, and maybe that they'll do that before we have to say goodbye to you. But always a chance that we can just stay live for a little bit longer. Huh? Okay, so let's try this with track then. We're not going to turn around here. We'll just go out there. Yeah, I want to do it. I'm glad they're moving now. It's getting dark and it's going to get quite awkward to try and get out of here. 15 minutes? No, I don't care. We're following cats right now. We've been sitting here waiting for them to wake up. Now they've woken up. We are going to try and stay with them for a bit. Oh. Yeah, let's just move 20 feet and then lie down again. And well, we can't go anywhere because they are sitting right there where we need to. No, they're just... Other females, yeah, they're just all lying down again. They're calling. There's some vocalizing going on, whether they're looking for another. Does the female with the lump on her elbow have TB, that little cub? Hi Sarah, in California. I don't think that I don't think that's how TB manifests itself, as a little lump like that. And it's either in a skin lesion, or it's bronchial, or it's internal. I don't think TB manifests itself in that sort of lump, that abscess that seems to be developing on her elbow. Actually, it's not the elbow, it's the wrist. Or is it the elbow? I forget now. And I think it's just below the elbow. But we can't go anywhere right now. We're stuck on this island in the middle of this drainage line that has only one way out. And we can't go anywhere because there are two lions lying in our exit path. The only one and only exit that we have out of here. But my guess is that what is happening is they don't want to just get up and move. They get up and they move a little bit, and then they sort of assess what might be up ahead. They don't want to cause too much havoc by just inadvertently bumping into animals and causing alarm calls and giving their position away. So I'm pretty sure that it's a slow process of getting up a little bit and moving a bit and then sitting and listening, because they're likely to hear the sound of something maybe browsing, something taking leaves off of trees, or something vocalizing to something else. That's one of the reasons why there aren't really that many animals that vocalize a lot to each other, because when you've got a pride of lion like this that has just woken up, and you're moving down in the drainage line below, and you're having this long conversation with your mate next to you, and you're grazing at grass, and you're chewing with your mouth full, or rather talking with your mouth full. It's exactly what these guys want to hear. So much of life here in the wild has got to do with body language and sitting quietly and being patient and listening. And if they just go headlong into this thicket, they don't know that maybe there's going to be something that they frighten that gives off an alarm call, and then they can forget about being stealthy for the next hour or so, because everything's going to be on edge. And it could well be that since something has been seen, that they're actually biding their time. They're waiting for an opportunity to strike. But everything has changed. All of a sudden you can see the concentration in the lack of movement of ears. Oh, now they're moving again. But subtle signals that are given throughout the pride to stop and listen and wait. Aha. Something has become of interest. Thank you, Cheryl. Cheryl just saying she counted 8 lionesses and 1 male. Thank you, Cheryl. if there is a total of 9, then whichever lioness or whoever it was that those other lion have killed, not one of them. I was trying to count, but I kind of lost track. Quite magic. Not going to lose track of them entirely. I'm just coming down into this drainage line because I have a feeling whatever they're looking at might be moving down here. So not seeing anything down here, but we've got a very sharp bend of the river, and it goes around here, and then it does another bend going around with a very sharp bend, and looks like we need to go around the bend to catch up with them because they're starting to move again. Put on lights just yet because if there is something around here, hi MJ in Texas. Thanks for the info, anyway. There's a lot of info there on about there they're going, they're crossing the drainage line now. They might be going to a little water front camp. MJ, thanks for the info. I can't really relate to that, but just saying that TB can possibly produce those sort of lesions or those sort of lumps. Now down to sand, unless they've got water down here, or just crossing the drainage line. Yeah, they're going back up. I think they're going back up to that water hole in front of Gallagher Camp where they were found this morning. So I'll find my way out of here and we'll hopefully catch up with them when they get out. On the move and heading towards this little water hole. This is a man-made water hole, a little clearing just in front of the camp called Gallagher Camp. Self-catering camp here at Nkuhuma. Beautiful little accommodation where you can rent it out for the whole family, and one of the guides here at Nkuhuma will take you out. Specialized vehicle.